Hello, hello, hello. This is High Priestess Jamila, and happy Monday to you all. Hello. I hope everybody had a wonderful Easter, those of you that celebrated, and I hope that you guys are finding this video in good spirits. If you are not, then maybe you need to holler at me for a cleanse, okay? All right. So today I want to answer the question, why does it seem like people turn against you when you start practicing witchcraft? What's going on there? This phenomenon doesn't happen to everybody, but it does happen to probably, I'd say, maybe 70 to 80% of witches. Okay, 70 to 80% of witches. When you start practicing witchcraft, people just start to turn against you. People start to you know, they don't treat you the way that they used to. They, are talking about you. They are being weird. They are all of a sudden thumping at their Bibles. They are, acting crazy, um being weird, judging you, um just being strange. People start to act strange. Why does that happen? There's a few reasons, but the main reason, because I know that there's probably been somebody out there that was asking this question to themselves, as you realize that all of the people in your life were fake. This can be very scary for a lot of people. It's comparable to The Matrix. It's comparable to the movie The Matrix. As long as you stay within that box, everything gonna be okay. But as soon as you step outside of the box, then you have to face reality. Hey, Brianna. Yeah, exactly. All of a sudden, everybody's acting strange. So I'm gonna tell you, there's a couple of reasons why. And this is actually at the root of that problem. At the root of the problem is that they never was your friend in the first place. Okay. They never was really family in the first place, because this happens in families too, to where your family will turn against you, friends will turn against you. Well, if your friends turn against you because you are practicing witchcraft, it's mainly because they were never your friend in the first place. I feel like people that give you an exceptionally hard time about being a witch, the reason why they do that is probably because they are and have always been an agent. Okay, these are spiritual agents that, while you were not using your own power, those people were okay. Then all of a sudden, when you began to practice and you began to do things that what do you call it? It's like an alarm timer that they have in them. It's like something gets activated in these people. You know what I'm saying? And all of a sudden they're trying to completely work against what your spirit guides and what your spirits have aligned up for you. Okay. That person just never was your friend, never really cared about you, never really loved you. That's the truth. Okay. I don't care if you knew somebody for 5 years, for 10 years, for 30 years. If all of a sudden, because you're practicing witchcraft, and I'm talking about if you're out in the open, you don't have anything to hide. Um, you're practicing for whatever reason. Now, another reason that they turn against you is because they get scared. Why? Do they get scared? Because this whole time they've been plotting against you. And so they are afraid, they're scared. As soon as you start practicing, they feel that all of that dirt that they did to you is going to now come to light. And they feel that when it comes to the light, when the light gets shown on them, they feel like they're going to get some negative karma. Okay, because they ain't been right to begin with. Okay. And by the way, regardless to this is how I am. I don't deal with people that are afraid of my spiritual gifts. I don't deal with people that are upset about me using my own power. There is a lot in the universe, in particular for witches, and it depends on it. I guess it would depend on, because I'm not going to try to make the distinguish. I'm not going to try to distinguish between um, white witches and black witches, or light witches or dark witches, because I personally appreciate them all. Because what I've learned is that it's a learning process. So if you all of a sudden got some, dark witch or somebody attacking you, this is meant to teach you. Okay. It's not meant to necessarily destroy you. It's meant to teach you. That's my humble opinion about it. You learn so much when you're dealing with spiritual warfare. You just learn a lot, especially if you have been kept away from it your whole life. You're going to have like this crash course in how to survive out here as a witch. So I think that it's important. This is why it's important for you to embrace your haters, embrace them, because they teaching you something. Okay. You got to take life as a lesson. So, but in particular, for those of you that you may get your feelings hurt, you may feel alone, you may feel isolated because you're coming into your power. And some of y'all will start to feel this even before you even pick up a candle, a herb. All of a sudden, you feel like everybody is turning away from you. And I believe that, in particular for witches, the reason why this happens is so that you can be alone to discover your own power. Wanting to fit in, no, you might as well just let that go. Wanting to fit in and be accepted by everybody, I mean, eventually you can, but those people that are a part of a resistance against your own power, you can't do nothing with those people. Okay, it's just the way spirit works. It's not because witchcraft is evil or it's the devil. That's a very ignorant way of thinking. Okay, no, you don't want to ever think that way. The reason why those people are doing that is because, number one, they probably was sent by some negative spirit to keep you in line anyway. They was there to keep you in line. They was there to facilitate all of your spiritual gifts being used against you. Okay. Now, when it comes to family, the reason why your family is upset is because you were their sacrifice. They didn't understand why they all had a desire to sacrifice you, to throw you under the bus, to do you wrong. When you let them know, hey, I know who I am, I'm practicing witchcraft, I am protecting myself, they done lost their sacrifice. You had already been doing work for them for years, especially if you're an empath. You had already been naturally, when you think back at your life as a witch, when you think back and when you take a really long, hard look at those people that decided to judge you, you've been doing work for them your whole life. especially if you're an empathic witch, you have been absorbing all of their stuff. You have been their scapegoat. You have been their kicking post. And now that you are freeing yourself, okay, you are liberating yourself. They don't like it. They don't like it. Okay. And a lot of people don't realize that, throughout history, it has always been family that has done you dirty. But see, they did it out of ignorance. Okay. When people would snitch to like the church or whatever, back when it was okay to kill witches, when people would snitch to the church and you would be trialed and killed, people used to die for their right to practice witchcraft. Okay. People would die for it. Now, what they didn't tell you, which is not the fun part, is that people that do stuff like that, they would suffer horrible curses, horrible fates. That's another reason why a lot of your families are generationally hexed for what they did the generation before that or the generation before that. Okay. All right. I got somebody up in here trying to uh distract me. No distractions. Sorry. Um, those people would usually suffer some kind of horrible fate. And then if they were smart, they would realize, wow, the person that was meant to help me, I got them killed, or I, you know, brought judgment against them. These people would either get very sick, they would lose all of their money, whatever the little or however much they had. So throughout the years, it has consistently been a sign from spirit that these people are not supposed to do that. They are not supposed to just turn against you, but they did. And then they took it a little bit further. They tried to hang you as a witch. They literally tried to put, the noose around your neck and hang you. Okay, so they went above and beyond their call of duty. Okay. And a lot of witches and natural, especially natural witches, and witches have different gifts. There are some witches that have the power to bring the dead back to the living. There are some witches that have an extreme empathic power that people rarely talk about. People rarely talk about empaths and the impact that empaths can have on people. And so they killed what is called a source, is what they did. And so this is the reason why they stopped. But then now it's more so um, a spiritual attack on the mind. It's more so, slavery and all of that is mainly in the mind. It's slavery of the mind. And the reason why it's like that is because there's all sorts of people out there. They know that everything that you have is coming from your brain. Um, it starts in the brain. Everything that you're able to do is because your brain is capable of doing it. So this is the reason why they want to steal your consciousness. Okay, this is the reason why they want to get in your head. It's really nothing that you can do about it. What spirit wants y'all to know is to not deny yourself. Stop denying yourself just to make other people feel comfortable. Stop denying yourself of your spiritual right. Okay, you have a birthright to it because Otherwise you're going to have an extremely hard time surviving. Right. Right. And that's very interesting. You know that when people just explain away things to just say a person is crazy, that means that they don't really have an intelligent understanding of what's going on. When people do that, typically, when people don't have any other explanation for what is going on, what they say is they'll say, "Oh, that's crazy. Oh, she's crazy. He's crazy. They crazy." Because they don't really understand. And it's not meant for them to understand. Being a witch and being connected to your spirit guides, that is a personal relationship. That's just like when you see Christian witches. They will tell you, I have a personal relationship with Jesus Christ that has nothing to do with anybody else, and it's not up to anybody else to judge. Okay. The problem is that there was a delusion that other people could control other people. That's a delusion. And most of the time when you release and you let go of trying to control other people, it seems like everything just falls into place. Okay. When you're trying to control how much money a person makes, when you're trying to control how people see that person, when you're trying to control people like that, have the hardest time in life because they're so focused on other people and they're not putting in any focus on themselves. So those people that turn against you, don't worry about them. And it does seem like it seems like a lonely path, but it's actually not. And they'll even try to trick you. Oh, you gotta have friends and da 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 da. Witches don't have friends. They have family, they have husbands, they have wives, they have people that they are connected to as far as friends. And I mean, I guess you can have them. Like, for example, I consider myself to be a good friend to people. I don't just go and do people dirty. There's a lot of people that will stab you in the back quicker than a cat would lick his ass. Okay. They're just some people just can't be right. Okay. Yeah, and you know what? You're right about that, T. Wyatt, because people will hide their own spiritual gifts out of fear of judgment, because that's pretty much how witches and shamans and everybody, I don't care male or female, male witches don't have it any easier. They pretty much put those people in the category of crazy, mentally ill. Okay. And if you're going to be normal and a normal part of society, you have to be normal. You have to fit in. And that's one of the first signs of being a witch, is that you just never fit in. I mean, when I think back about grade school, middle school, high school, I always knew it was something wrong with me, but it really ain't nothing wrong. Like if you are spiritually gifted, or if your child has spiritual gifts, they now have it listed as a mental illness. And see, I was labeled as mentally ill as a child, which, because I went through the same exact thing that my youngest son is going through. And even actually, all of my children went through the same thing, especially if you are a medium. Mediums do what? They pick up on spiritual energy, they pick up on spirits, or they can be sometimes overcome by spirits. And if you don't have the proper family support, you're going to label yourself as crazy or mentally ill. I am of an opinion that mental illness is only an illusion that was created so that we could not help people. Because if you label yourself as mentally ill, you're never going to be able to balance out your spiritual gifts ever. And so I am one person that if I recognize somebody is being labeled as having a mental illness, quote unquote mental illness, I'll still help them. And that is because If you notice people that are witches, if you notice once they actually commune with spirit, once they go through what they go through, you notice that they change and they change for the better. And there's a lot of people that are quite codependent on you being mentally ill. In fact, a lot of people sold out because the government will pay you to be mentally ill. They'll pay you to say, "Up, I'm crazy, I'm mentally ill." They'll pay you for that. Yeah, instead of really understanding what it is, because people that know that you have spiritual gifts, they will poke at you and poke at you and poke at you. Okay. There's a lot of people that are mentally ill that are I'm sorry, not mentally ill, spiritually gifted, that are in prison because they got poked and poked and poked and they got led down the wrong road. And now now they're locked up because they may have been very sensitive or very empathic. Okay. And empaths can, a lot of people think that empathism is all about being nice to people. And that's not what being an empath is really about. What being an empath is about is that you are extremely sensitive to negative influences. You may be extremely sensitive to negative influences. And these negative influences, if you don't have yourself in check, you might go out and run somebody over in your car. I'm mad. Amal Suzanne said, "Wait, I never fit in all my life and it's now starting to add up." Yeah, exactly. Exactly. I think it's a huge mistake for people in the spiritual community to go against each other. I think that it's important for us to stick together. But who am I? You know what I'm saying? I have a lot of fun spending my alone time, and my time with my loved ones and my children. And so it's because a lot of y'all have a lot of work to do, especially to your bloodline, your children. You have a lot to work on. So, just kind of hanging out doing normal things is not a virtue. Being normal and fitting in is not a virtue. Okay. Okay. It's not. And, once you get things balanced out, then you will be able to have your friends are going to have to be open minded, though. They can't be the type of people that don't understand. They can't, okay? Because these people are not going to understand you and they are going to literally be a spiritual block for you. It's important for you to understand that, regardless of what you believe in, I think that there's a verse in the Bible that says that Jesus Christ is your friend. And that's not to say that that has to happen forever. You can eventually find acceptance. Eventually. Hey, Christian. Hello. You can eventually find acceptance. Okay. And you eventually going to find a place to fit in. But if you have been suppressed for 20, 30, 40, even sometimes 50 years, you're going to have to go back over all of that and you're going to have to deal with all of the crap that has been put into you and one of the reasons is because people claim they believe in God, but they really don't. Especially when it comes to people and I think it's sad when I see Christians going against witches. I think it's really, really, really sad and it makes no sense. But they're constantly going against you. They're constantly going to battle with you, but they claim that they believe in God and they claim that they trust their God. So if you believe in God and you trust your God, why are you so afraid of witchcraft? If it's not real, a lot of them will say it's not real. Well, then why does the Bible condemn it? Why? See, that's that fire you're going to have to go through. because the reason why the Bible condemns it is because most people can't handle witchcraft. A lot of people can't handle it. They go into it, especially if it's your first time. I know that I started practicing 16 years ago. It was 16 years ago is when I initially started practicing. And that was just the beginning. Some scary stuff happened, and I stopped practicing. So at that moment, I was dabbling. That was it. And a lot of real witches dabble because they weren't taught. They were taught just to stay within the realm of where they're at, of their understanding, but they were never actually encouraged. Okay. And see, it depends on what kind of encouragement you get. I think that one of the reasons why Spirit wanted us to find our own path rather us being taught is because it was meant for many of us to do different things. It was meant for a lot of us to handle a certain section or sector of the craft, and Spirit didn't want nobody um, influencing that. They wanted you to kind of naturally step in to where you were supposed to be, in the whole um, matrix of the situation. They wanted you to they wanted you to discover your own. And I encourage witches every single day because your assistance is needed. Look at the world. Look at all these people that look at all these people. Look, they a mess. They a mess. They told you that you were going to have a wonderful life if you got perfect attendance in high school, went to college, and wrong answer. That didn't happen for a majority of people. So they told you that if you follow the rules and go to church every Sunday, that everything was going to be okay. But these same people that are saying it, look at how crazy they are. I mean, look at how out of touch they are. Look at how messed up they are. So then you start to realize, well, if I were to compare, that's just like they tell everybody, when it, I'm not even going to go there. We're going to save that for another day. Today is not the day. Anyway, they tell you that if you go along with these programs, that everything is going to be okay. This is one of the reasons why Spirit shows itself through movies. If you notice, like a lot of the horror movies, it'll be these normal kids, they'll be going to school and they'll be totally having this supernatural experience. Okay. So you can't run or hide from Spirit. You can't. People that are claiming, oh, I think I'm bipolar. People that are claiming, oh, I'm schizophrenic. Oh, I've got this, I've got that. The reason why you're doing that is because you are running from yourself. You're running from yourself. You're running from the real reality of who you are. And there are many. Okay, now I am of a personal belief that everybody holds their own personal power. I would never discourage that. I don't need to necessarily have power over somebody, but when you think about the ascended masters, they will sort of capture you. Okay, especially if you have asked them to guide you. If you've said, hey, I want Spirit to guide me, but then when you get that Spirit guide, you're very confused about it. You're like, what is the what is this? You know what I'm saying? So if it's something that's detrimental to you, then spirits would be a little forceful. They would. Okay, especially if you are a witch going down the wrong path. As a beginner, I take time before I do witchcraft without doubting or thinking about it. Oh, yeah. If you have doubt in witchcraft, it's just not going to work. You might as well not even pay somebody to do it. You might as well not even, you know, even, waste your time buying a candle if you don't actually believe in it. Okay? Yeah, you can't really you you can't, and see, spirits will test you. They will test you. They will test your trust in them. Because if you notice, when it comes to witchcraft, what people have realized for thousands, I mean, this didn't just come up 5 years ago or 10 years ago. This is thousands of years that witchcraft has been researched and tried by witches. So when witches say perfect love and perfect trust, that is what it is about. You have to trust in what you're doing, which has a lot to do with faith. They call it faith in other religions, but in witchcraft, we call it trust. The energy of trust is very important when you're practicing. I am a person, which most witches, I would say that all of you guys, a lot of witches have the power to cast out demons, to cast out bad spirits. I mean, hell, if you didn't, you wouldn't survive it, because spirits can be they can be really powerful. Malevolent spirits, dark spirits, and good spirits hold just as much power. But bad spirits, they can mess you up. They can make you age overnight. They can make you sick. They can completely drain you of, all of your spiritual. I mean, they can, and it's not that they're draining you. What they can do is they can drain you of the ability to focus on your craft, because the first place they go is the head. That's why they're constantly talking about your head and your shoulders. I was rewatching the video. I think I have. Remember, you told me in a free reading video that I have a spirit who was against witchcraft. Yeah, more than likely. There's a lot of witches that will turn against witchcraft also, which is a huge, huge, huge mistake. You never know why especially if you're a witch that's trying to work for people, you never know why you going through the situation that you going through. I know I talk to witches all the time that are having issues in their relationships, and that is because it is meant for you to learn how to help others. You can't necessarily help somebody with something if you ain't never went through it. So through that trial and error, and through the harsh times, and through the storms, you learn wisdom. So that's why a lot of y'all will, in particular, your man will start acting funny towards you and stuff. You know what I'm saying? And, a lot of women will get scared at that happening. But, you're going to have to learn how to deal with that. Okay. Especially if you're trying to do work for other folks, you got to at least have that basic knowledge. And witchcraft is not about learning it. You can't necessarily learn witchcraft. It's not learning like, you're gonna go and study a book and go take a test, and I mean, even though if you have a spirit guide or a person that is guiding you, they may test you, or tests and trials may come, but it's about learning from experience. Okay. And so many people, they learn just by their experiences. You learn how to navigate. You learn how to do that there. Okay. And you, especially because I don't offer no spells to people. I don't offer any spells to people that I have not tried out for myself. Okay. And the things that you're going through directly, may be related to the people that you're supposed to help, the people that you're supposed to be of assistance to. And it's not meant for those people to necessarily stay up underneath you unless they like you. I have clients that have been with me since the beginning. It's just because they like me. But it's not necessarily that they have to. And so you can't be concerned about people turning against you. Now, if you are dependent on your family, if you live with your family, if you are dependent on them for income, well, you're going to have to tap into yourself. You're going to have to tap into your spiritual gifts and figure this thing out. And you can't be scared. So many people are so fearful. They so scared. You just scared of yourself. See, that's a part of that shadow work that everybody talking about. That's a part of that when you scared of your own shadow. You can't be that. Okay. So be strong. You have to be strong, but you don't have to be strong to the point where you're attacking people, physically, threatening folks' family and stuff like that. Like, you ain't got to do that. Like, honestly, there's always a much simpler solution than that. It's very easy to, everybody gets caught up in negativity sometimes. Everybody. Can't nobody say that they never have. The whole point is learning from those mistakes and then progressing and moving forward. And you already know those people gonna turn against you, especially if you are lucky enough to be doing spiritual work for people. That's a blessing, like no other. People are going to have a problem because they haven't, well, like I said, those people are agents. I believe that there are some people that spiritually come to you. They're just like spiritual agents. You know what I'm saying? Like, especially if it's somebody like, your mother, your brother, your sister, and and that can be really hurtful because when you come into your witchy powers, you just know it. You just know it, especially if you're doing spells and they working, especially if you're doing rituals and they're working and you've done nothing but improve your life. Okay, that's the one thing I can say about witchcraft is that even though it eliminated all of those fake friends and those people that didn't really care about me or have my back, it still improved my life. Like, nobody can ever say that the witchcraft that I did for them did not make their life better in some way. Okay, so, and if you're a witch that doesn't do work for people, there's witches out there, they're just married. There's a lot of married witches out there that practice. They don't go out and do work for people. You know what I'm saying? They're just a witch. So every witch is not going to be doing work for people. Okay. More than likely, if you're a witch and you're doing work for people, it's because it's meant for you to do work for people. It's just it's fate. Hmm. And on YouTube, but I don't care what nobody say. This is what we all going through. Every witch is experiencing this, unless it's a witch that's not authentic. And, YouTube.com, this platform, it is an agenda to keep people dumbed down. I've noticed that. I've noticed that most social media outlets, they're, the content that you're going to see that gets the most views is going to be people doing insane, silly, stupid stuff, because there's a lot of people that they just like to see people's downfall. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, we know this person, this ain't gonna work out for this person, but we just gonna keep watching because this is not gonna work. Okay. So the other witches on here, we all in the same boat. Every last one of us. You ain't no better than me. I ain't no better than you. It's an agenda pretty much universally of people trying to block the magic from happening. That's why they say all kind of stuff to you. They do all kind of stuff to you. You be having all these weird thoughts that don't make no sense, thoughts that are not your own, people trying to remote view you, people trying to get in your head. They want to read what's in your head. You know, those people do themselves a disservice because you know they're super duper focused on you and not themselves. Also, another thing, spirit don't like for witches to go against each other. That's considered to be treason. Witches are supposed to be sticking together, not going against each other. Why? Why is that? Is it so that we can make money? No, it's not that. It has nothing to do with the money. I could have went into real estate and been a millionaire by now. Would I have necessarily done that? Well, I still can go into real estate. You know, you can be a witch and have other outside investments. Okay. The reason why, oh goodness, I may have lost it, y'all. Hold on. Hold on. It's coming back. It's coming back. Okay. Give me a second. We're going to have to pin cushion that one. That one's going to have to come back to me. But, you know, what I was saying to say is that, um, oh, that's what it was. Thank you, spirits. It is because witches are being called to duty. You're being called to heal people. You're being called to free people. You're being called to uncross people. You're being called to heal people, to clear them and cleanse them. The world got way too evil. And the reason why is because there has been an avoidance of spirit and avoidance. When you got spirits walking around everywhere, they everywhere. All kind of stuff is out there. Okay. And stuff that'll either mess you up. Is stuff that is benevolent and all the way through malignant, malevolent. Okay, now if you're on the side of witchcraft to where you want to harm people, that is your main intent, then you're not you're not there. If that's your main intent, you're just using witchcraft because you've got anger, you've got unresolved anger that you need to work on. Okay. Becoming a witch does not mean, oh, I'm going to go out and destroy all these people. And that's why your family turn against you, especially if they called you names or picked on you, you know, and you're sitting there looking at them like, well, you're going through what you're going through because more than likely they're witches too. But they are in denial. Being in denial is going to mess them up. But they get paranoid. They get very paranoid. Oh, you know, she going to put some kind of hex on me or something because I did this and that. Well, there are some witches out there that will do that. It is people that will, you know, try to purposely go after people. I personally think that you're just wasting a bunch of your energy and time spent that you could have been making those changes in your life that are going to benefit you. So, you know, when it comes to witches and people, you know, not liking them or or, sort of having that feeling of, oh, this person is going to do something to me, or they get paranoid, delusional about the situation. That's their own issue. You do have to protect yourself from people like that, because um, the whole consensus behind the crusades and people grouping up to go after one person, that whole thing is about their fear of you and what they think you're going to do. But most of the time, when I talk to witches, they just want to heal themselves and manifest and then help others. And there are going to be times when you may feel a little weird, or off balance. And you just got to learn those grounding techniques for yourself. Okay. Now, when you get more so up into the real delusion, to where people think that they are supposed to, again, use people's energy, sacrifice people, then that's a huge problem, because that really has nothing to do with it. Although there have been people that have been eaten up by people's spirits. You keep attacking people, that's what's going to happen to you. Okay. People don't have the right to attack you, judge you, berate you, harass you, because you're a witch. They don't have the right to do that. They don't. There's nothing written except for the Bible. But keep in mind, the Bible is one big test. The Bible will tell you not to do something, and then it'll tell you to do something. And then, so it's meant for, the Bible is kind of like a crossroads. It's like, okay, which path are you going to choose? Which one? Are you going to take the red pill, or are you going to take the blue pill? So the Bible definitely is very necessary, but it's all about how you're interpreting it. Okay. So that's why, and you know what? A lot of times, especially if it's family, you have been programmed your entire life to just exist for their purpose, and that's it. Reality, you have a purpose. They can't argue with that. They can't. Okay. If it's meant for you to go out there and heal people, cleanse people, help people, then that's what it's meant for you to do. If you're a person that's meant to punish the guilty, which you got to be careful with that. You have to really, really, really be careful with that. It depends on what you're punishing that person for. You can't make up a lie. Spirit knows the truth. This is where there's a lot of people, I have seen witches that have a stronger belief in God than some people that go to church every Sunday. They go to church just so that they can be social and talk to people. They don't really go to church, or they don't really go to these events to commune with God or commune with spirit. They go there just so that they can say, hey, I'm a good person. I came to church and I said, praise God. And I said hello to everybody. But they're not actually connecting to God. In fact, they're scared of God. So, you have to spend that time within yourself, alone and possibly independent of those people. Okay. You have to do that. And spirit is going to make it really difficult for you to not do that, because throughout the years, people have abused their power and they have gotten away with so much. And now spirit wants things set into balance. When you think about justice, when you think about Mayat, when you think about how things are really imbalanced, and the problems and the issues that are being created out of that, you are very important. You're VIP. Even though people may say, "Oh, you ain't nothing," and you look like this or you look like that, you are important to whatever you want to call God, spirit, the spirits. You're important to them because the more people you are able to help, the better. Because those people do need help. There's spirits that for some people is just wrapped around their throat, wrapped around their crown chakra, wrapped around their heart chakra, and it's meant for you to help those people. Now, it doesn't mean that they have to be codependent on you for the rest of your life. They can, I certainly, for me, I like for all of my clients, past, present, and future, to, if you've been a client within the past year, it's important, or at any time, for you to participate with the Sabbats. Do you have to do the Sabbats with me? No, you can do them on your own. So I don't do stuff like that. I don't have people up underneath me. I don't need a yes man or woman. I don't need that. Okay. And the reason why is because it's not set up and designed like that. The point of what I do is to prepare people for doing work for others. Because those people that you're supposed to help, I'm not supposed to help them. You're supposed to help them. I don't even want to help them. That's a totally different thing, separate from what I'm doing. So this is one of the reasons why I don't go out there and try to steal people's clients. That's the most ridiculous thing ever, guys. Like, people just don't get it. So a lot of y'all will get scared. A lot of y'all, especially if you start putting up your channels and there's a peanut gallery that shows up at every new witchy channel, that, some of these people think that they have authority over you. A person that you don't know does not have authority over you. Okay? They don't. There's a lot of people, they want authority. They want to be able to control your energy. They want to be able to control you. And for some reason, they think that this is what's going to earn them respect, not by the spirits. It may earn you respect from, from just the everyday average Joe walking around, maybe, but it's not going to necessarily earn you respect from the spirit. So it's really, really important to be mindful of how you are being led as a witch. I can honestly tell you that my spirits have never just led me to go out and attack people, try to destroy people's lives. And it's been nothing but good to me. Okay, so a lot of y'all spirit guides want y'all to be good people, good witches. They don't want you to be out here doing that stuff. Okay. And a lot of people totally take for granted their legal right to practice witchcraft. Okay. So this is the reason why it's important for people that are all wild and willy-nilly out there with it. It's important for us to put them in some kind of check, because witchcraft could possibly, which, and it'll never happen. That's never going to happen. Spirit just told me that ain't going to happen. But they would try to make it seem like witchcraft is the problem. Witchcraft is not the problem. The problem is people that are codependent, that want to control you, people that are got all kinds of ideas in their heads about who you should be, what you should be, and they don't have the right to choose that for you. Okay. So in a sense, what you should, what a lot of witches are dealing with, and spirit is getting more and more impatient about the situation. That's why I say you got to be careful what you're doing. Spirit is getting more and more impatient because Spirit wants people on this planet to have some resonance of what's the word I want to use? Happiness. Spirits don't want people walking around unhappy, sad, and depressed. They don't want that. They want people to be elevated. They want people to be okay. Okay. Now, there's other sectors, like, for example, if you are a person that is a psychiatrist, a therapist, you're going to more than likely say, okay, we're going to diagnose certain mental illnesses, but in reality, it's not a mental illness. It could be black magic, it could be your spiritual gifts. I have talked to some therapists that were very honest. I actually was seeing a therapist myself several years ago because I had an incident with a stink bug, and the therapist, we didn't even talk about my mental issues because of the stink bug. Because I had a hard time eating. I had to dissect my food. What we talked about was spirit. We talked about witchcraft. We talked about healing. And she said, there's a lot of people that you could help that I can't do anything for. And, so there's a thin line. And see, that's why they made that movie Gothica, because in Gothica, Halle Berry was a psychiatrist, or she was a psychologist or something like that. I can't remember the exact title. But it was obvious that she had spiritual gifts, obviously. And that's a really interesting movie. If y'all ain't watched that ever, or either tripped off of it, or maybe it's been years since you watched it. In that movie, it's obvious, and it makes sense for a lot of the things that we endure to be coming in through spirits, whether or not it is a negative spirit or a positive spirit. Okay. I think that it is important for you to um, not turn away from your witchy self because of these people. Because eventually those people are going to come back and they're going to have to ask for your help anyway, eventually, because they are running from themselves. I don't care how long it takes, them people are going to come back. They're going to say, look, what should I do with this? They'll start asking you questions about the spirit realm, because then they'll have to accept it. It's not your fault. They act like it's your fault. It's not your fault that they're having these spiritual experiences that they want to be in denial about. And I think that people should take it all with a grain of salt. Seriously. Because what else can you do? You can't do nothing but be who you are. And I encourage witches to explore their witchy side, but don't go into it trying to curse people, trying to get revenge, because then you're going to be working in reverse. The reason why that happened to you, or this happened to you, or that happened to you is probably because spirit was trying to get your attention. So if you go and say, oh, well, I'm going to go and get revenge on this person that was used as a catalyst or a vessel for spirit, spirit is going to stop you at every turn. So that's why it's very important for you to understand what spirit is saying to you. Now, there are going to be instances where, yeah, you are going to have to do reversals. You're going to have to ward off bad energy. You're going to have to do your banishings. You're going to have to do your protection. But at the end of the day, the people in your life that may be paranoid or upset, or, they think, oh, Lord, I done did this, this, and that. And now this person going to come back and get me. You have to be very, very specific and say, hey, my spiritual journey, you were only you were in my life. And I actually just shared a meme on Facebook. I went through what I went through with you to teach me something, and that's it. Okay. I'm more concerned about healing myself, healing my family, um, you know, uh, manifesting a better quality of life. Okay. And if somebody's telling them any different, mm, mm, then you got yourself a bad guru. I do believe in binding people. Binding somebody, let me just tell y'all about bindings. There are people that are trying to bind people from their own power. Huh? No, you're supposed to bind somebody from doing harm to you and yours. You don't bind somebody from being able to, help themselves. Eventually that karma is going to have to come back to you eventually if you're doing that. So you have to have some sense of common sense when you're a witch, and quit being afraid of calling yourself a witch. A witch is a witch is a witch. That's what we call them, witches. A lot of people are witches and they'll say, "Oh, I'm a Reiki master." Okay, you're a witch. I'm a healer. Nah, you're a witch. Okay. There's no need to be ashamed. I don't understand people in the shame, shame, shame behind being a witch unless you have directly harmed a person. But in reality, people harm themselves. People commit self harm with some of the things that they do. So, you don't have to necessarily take credit for that. But if somebody has been mentally abusing you or torturing you or whatever, and they just won't stop, then yeah, it is sometimes good to celebrate when you see that person go through something difficult. Is that going to necessarily change them? No, it's not. So I feel like focus on the people that give a damn about you. Focus on the people that are giving you good sound advice. Focus on the people that accept you and love you. Don't focus on those people that don't accept you and love you. Hey, Jacksonville, hello. Don't focus on those people. You can't. There's going to be people out there that you be surprised at the people that you're supposed to have in your life that are actually going to be supportive of you and love you unconditionally. Okay, but if somebody turns against you because you're a witch, they never loved you or accepted you to begin with. People turn on you, they wasn't never your friend to begin with. Sometimes when people turn on you, you know, and but that's not to say, oh, cut that person off forever, because people are going to have problems. It doesn't mean, like, some people, somebody say two words to them, oh, I'm going to kill you, I'm going to destroy you, I'm going, and really what they talking to is possibly a negative spirit. But come on, people are supposed to have disagreements. You ain't supposed to just sit and agree all the time. I would be afraid of a person that just sat there and agreed with me all the time. I'd say, what are you up to? Like, why do you know what I'm saying? Like, if we know each other personally, I'm talking about personal things, okay? People that you know personally in your real life. You're going to sit there and never have a disagreement with them. Never. That's never going to happen. It's never going to happen. I mean, maybe when you get up in age or you get into your older age, but even still, you're still going to. So that's not to say, oh, cut that person off completely immediately. It just depends. But if it's a person that is that, because I can see people's intent very clearly, a person's intent on why they're doing what they're doing. And people will have an intent to do harm to you. And those people that ultimately, that is their ultimate goal, is to harm you. Just don't be foolish when it comes to those people. Disagreements are disagreements, but if somebody at the end of the day, they just want to tear you down, destroy you, make you sick. They lighten candles so that you'll be homeless. They lighten candles so that you can lose your money. You know, very, very important for you to send that energy back to them and then protect yourself. Okay. Because there's some people that are very handy and crafty at that, causing issues to happen. Okay, y'all, I'm not sure what happened. Had a little blip in my internet. So that's what it is. And what you can do is you can ease their mind. People that get paranoid about what you may do to them in out of revenge. But I'd say that if you're a witch, get the proper guidance. Going back and avenging everybody in your life that did you dirty, nah, you're not going forward, you're going backwards, and you want to be careful with that. Now, if somebody did something like murder your child, stole a bunch of money from you, then spirit within itself is going to definitely teach that person some lessons. But as far as that's petty. Spirit is above petty. Totally. Spirits ain't got time for nothing petty. They really don't. Don't insult witchcraft or spirits. That what they want to do is they want to make sure that you have what you need and want to survive. That's their main aspect. Seeing somebody that you don't like, or somebody that go down, that's the dumbest thing ever. Don't get caught up in that. Because those people that got caught up in that, they may be avoiding the karma, but they can't avoid it for too long. So make sure that you are practicing clean. Practice clean. Don't practice with all that other stuff to where, and I'm gonna tell you that I don't get my clients by scaring people, but they do need to know the truth. They do need to know, what could happen to them or what's happening to them. Okay, but as far as scaring people and all this, oogly googly stuff, that's not what's up, because if you're scared, you ain't gonna manifest nothing. If you scared, you might as well just go back to Bible study, Bible school, if you scared at all. And most people attack because they're scared. If you just got a witch just attacking you, it's because they scared to death. They're afraid. And the only time a scary person can make something happen to you is if they're working with the demon of fear. The demon of fear is a real entity. Okay. There's many, many, many demons of fear. And if they have been able to tap into that, then, you may have some issues. But it's all about knowing how to banish negative spirits. And movies can make you get really scared of witchcraft and scared of life within itself. But none of it really matters. As long as you're doing right by your spirits, you're making your offerings to them, you're feeding them, you'll be okay. And they want food and water is what they want. Food, water, milk, wine. You know, they don't necessarily need for you to go out and drain somebody of all of their blood and make an offering to them. That's not necessarily what they need. Okay. So make sure that you stick with your craft. Eventually, it will definitely pay off. Eventually, you will step it up. It may not even take you as long as it took me. It took me 5 years, 5 years to date. Okay. So, and you've got to keep yourself focused. Those people will start to try to distract you, mess with your head, literally mess with your head, your crown chakra and your third eye. Learn how to protect yourself. And definitely don't ever let those people make you feel like it's something wrong with you. I feel so bad for people that allow that. They call that crazy making. When people try to crazy make you. Know thyself and have a plan. Always have a plan. Okay, the full is good, the full energy is good, but always have a plan. Okay, the full is very necessary, the energy of the full. The full is all about trust. I'm navigating my way and I trust it. I feel it. It feels great and I'm going. But always make sure that you plan out your future. You have every right to do that. And if you're a witch and you're feeling like you're being spiritually abused, I am always here for you guys because I know how you feel and it's going to be okay. You just got to let go of being accepted by people that ain't going to never accept you. They not going to ever accept you. Okay. But your spirits will accept you, especially if you're a child of Yemi Ya. Um, she is the mother of the Orishas. And she's extremely useful, especially if you find yourself caught out there alone, no family, which is typically what happens to witches, and you can't be afraid of it. Okay. All right, y'all. Thank you for watching. Hit that thumbs up. If you are new to the channel, hit that subscribe button. If you need to reach me, all of my links are listed below. I do offer classes. I offer the beginners class. Um, well, I've got the beginners available, and then I also have the advanced, which is the Hecate's Realm class, which is the necromancy class. Okay. So if you guys want classes, this is typically the time of the year that people start taking classes. Okay. Thank you, Christian. Thank you. I appreciate it. All right, y'all. Love and light and peace to all of you guys. And y'all have a happy moon day. Okay. All right, guys. I hope I made you guys' day brighter. Y'all have a good one. Love and light.